Okay, so starting with today's session, we'll. I think we have seen enough about Google. Yes, we have seen about Google, Google, Google Docs, and we have seen about robots.txt. That is a countermeasure of Google Docs. Yes, we have seen about this, and now we'll move on to GitHub. GitHub, fine. So GitHub is also like Google, but it can be used for a lot of different purpose. I'll tell you what GitHub is used for. Please listen to this carefully. GitHub, you call it as a GitHub is a version control system. Version control system. Fine. What's a version control system? You have different repositories here. You have different, just like Google Drive. Fine. Just like Google Drive, GitHub is a place where you can upload few things. You can upload your source code. You can upload any document which you want to reproduce somewhere, and you can share it among users from different place, and different users from different locations. They can access your documents in case if it is public, and they can make changes. They can do a lot of things. A practical example will be this. Suppose we are developing a software called XYZ. Fine. XYZ is a software which is a 10,000 lines of coding. We need 10,000 lines of coding for this, and there are 100 people working in this project. So everyone is going to develop 1,000 lines of code, and each 100 people, they are from different location. Now we need a common platform where everyone can upload their 1,000 lines of codes, and we can choose GitHub for that. Our company is abc.com. abc.com is developing a software called XYZ. So what will I do? I'll create an account in GitHub. So my username will be ABC, and my repository, my folder's name will be XYZ. Fine. XYZ, and what will happen with this? And inside this repository, what do you mean by repository? Repository is a folder. Folder for servers, you call it as directory, and in GitHub, you call it as repository. Fine. You call it as repository, which is a folder. And inside this folder, I'll give access to all the 100 people to upload their code. So what will happen? I can upload the code. I can execute this. I can see what is wrong. Everyone can collaborate and you can work. This is one usage of GitHub, wherein companies use GitHub as a shared platform for developing something and for hosting something, right? And this is first usage. Second usage is where I develop a page. I have a page like this. I have home, about us, contact us, right? And suppose I'm developing a test page just for my reference. I'm testing with this page. And I have this coding here, means I have this page designed like this. I can have this page coding hosted in GitHub. I can do this, right? So that whenever someone tries to access abc.com/test.html, where does the request go? The request will directly go to GitHub, and in GitHub, I'll have my script which is hosted, and the page will load. You can also use GitHub for this. So GitHub can be used for a lot of different purpose. Now, where does the problem arise? The problem or the actual bug arises here. I'll tell you the answers after GitHub. After GitHub, I'll tell you the answers for yesterday's assignment. I'll tell you how to find the answers and who has submitted these answers. I'll tell you all these things. Yes. Okay. And say the problem arises somewhere like this here. This company called abc.com, this website called abc.com, they have specific coding, a login page, something, and they have few user credentials which are stored in GitHub repository. And if you ask me why they store in GitHub repository can be of two types. One is private, where only the abc.com company people can see. The other one is public, where everyone can see. This is for open source projects. And this is, as the name suggests, it is for private information or sensitive information. So companies, they can mark their repository as private so that nobody else can see that. They can also mark it as public so that anyone can see it. So like for open source projects, they can use it, right? And they have access token, they have database username, they have password, they have a lot of things like this stored in GitHub repository of their own page, right? They have saved it in abc.com/passwords. This is the repository name, right? Yes, they have saved it here. And anytime you give your username and password, or the admin gives his username and password, probably what will happen, this will get authenticated from here, whether the username and password is right, and then it goes back. This usually happens, right? So in case if this document is not marked as private, and sometimes companies, they tend to misconfigure, or company employees tend to misconfigure this, and it will be marked as public. And what we can do, you can go to GitHub, you can search for all these public documents which are sensitive information, and in case if it has sensitive information, you can report it as a bug. Now you might ask me a very simple question. Shankar, if this company abc.com is going to store all sensitive information in GitHub, right? And if they are using this for their real-time websites, which company will mark it as public? Will companies mark it as public? It is very obvious companies will mark it as private so that nobody else will be able to access. But do you think companies will be able to mark it as public? Yes. Big companies, big MNCs have misconfigurations in this. And first, let's see what GitHub is and how does it work. GitHub.co. Okay, we have GitHub here, and this is the option where you can type something here, and you can search whatever you want. Say I'll just search Amazon, Amazon.in, fine. So when you type Amazon.in, you'll have repositories, you'll have codes, you'll have commits, issues, you will have a lot of things, but I'll tell you where you have to look and how you have to look for the data. Okay, this is Amazon.in. We'll look for passwords. So in case if I want to look for passwords, I'll type Amazon.in space passwords, enter, fine. Amazon.in space passwords. Now I'm looking for passwords which is related to Amazon.in. So after you complete the search, first thing you'll have to go to code. Go to code here, click on this. When you click on this, you'll get the results here. Probably you might get few passwords here. You have the username, you don't have the password. You have this username, you don't have password. So you can perform a random search like this, wherein the probability of you getting a username and password, yes, sometimes you might get usernames and password and you'll be able to find. So the first thing what you have to do after clicking on search here, you'll have to go to code and you'll have to go and search for recent documents. So where will you go for recent documents? Go here and click recently indexed. Click on recently indexed because this document is 2019. So documents can be of say 2016, 2019, like that. But you should be looking for recent documents in the sense, okay, I request everyone to turn off your video. Okay, thank you. Fine. I mean, like, turn off your video, not turn on. Okay, great. So you'll have to click recently indexed, so you'll get recent data. So when I click recently indexed, see here, this data was indexed 7 hours ago. This was indexed 7 hours ago. This was indexed 2 days ago. Fine. So after you complete your search here, you'll have to click code and then you'll have to go click recently indexed. So recently indexed, you'll get all recent documents, and it's up to you to search things like this. So now we'll go for Honda. I think we are aware of Honda. Honda password, enter. I'm looking for Honda company passwords. So I'll go for code, and I'll go for recently indexed. Okay. Is it audible now? Yes. I'm sorry about that. Fine. Okay. So I'm looking for Honda database passwords, and let me click on this. If you click on this, you'll have a lot of documents, and the next thing what you have to do is go to this recently indexed, and probably you will have data like this. In case if you find any interesting information here, what you have to do, you will have to open this. Fine. You'll have to open this. Fine. Opening this, you will go to the repository. As I told you, this is the username, the user who has uploaded this, and this is the repository name. Fine. This is the username, and this is the repository name, and repository is the folder what he has created. And when you scroll down, you will have to check if it has any username or password, any sensitive credentials here. Control F, passwords, password, hashes, passwords. No, we don't have anything here. Fine. I have one such user here, Varun Codex, Honda passwords.html. When you scroll down, look at this, his repository. You have a database username and you have a database password. Fine. Database username and database password, and yes, database username and authentication. Once if you find anything like this, the next option or the next thing what you have to do is verify whether this particular user is working for Honda. If he is an employee who is working for Honda, so how to do that? I'll open his profile. When I open his profile, it says he is a software consultant. Great. And he is working for Honda Singapore, and it is this. Fine. Now you can be 90% confirmed that this is an employee working in Honda who has uploaded some sensitive information like this, some sensitive information like the database username and password, and to whom you can report it to Honda. Right. But still we have not fully confirmed whether this user is working as an employee of Honda. How to check that? You can still go to Honda company. You can see if Honda has a repository, and in case if Honda has a repository here, okay, we'll go to users. We'll see if Honda has users, and okay, Honda, they don't have GitHub repository here. In case if they have a GitHub repository, I can go there. We try Amazon. Amazon should have a GitHub repository here. Code. Amazon documents. Give me 1 minute. Let me search here. Amazon products, Amazon docs. We'll search for Amazon docs. Amazon document crawler. Nope. Okay, repositories. You have Amazon docs here. No. So when you look at this user, when you look at this particular user, in case if this user has employees, imagine this is Amazon. Amazon, they should have a lot of employees here. You can also check if the employee is working as a part of this, right? So when you look at GitHub, the first thing what you have to do is this. You will have to search, you will have to give a keyword, and you will have to search GitHub. That is point number 1. Then you will have to go look at the code. Then third option, you will have to go and categorize the results based on recently indexed. Fine, recently indexed. And from the search result, you will have to analyze the results and find out which has sensitive information, analyze results, and then you will have to verify the user if he is working for that particular company or not. In case if it is yes, then probably we can say that's a bug, and we can report it to them. And just like Google Docs, you have GitHub Docs which you can use. I'll show you what GitHub Docs we have. We have, go to Google and type GitHub Docs random Robbie. GitHub Docs random Robbie. You don't have to exploit the password. Don't do that. If you find something, you can report it to them. Fine. Random Robbie. And when you go to keywords, and when I open this file called keywords.txt, see here, you have a lot of keywords which you can use in GitHub. Right? Say suppose if your target website is using SQL, so I'll type SQL. I'll type in search SQL, and in case if you are interested in MySQL password, I'll copy this, just the keyword. I'll copy this keyword. I'll go to GitHub and I'll paste it here. MySQL password, enter. In case if you're looking only for MySQL passwords, I'll go to code and I'll see which, do I have any MySQL passwords here? Okay, after going here, you have to go for recently indexed. Okay, MySQL database, username and password. Some might have sample data, please ignore that. Apart from sample data, if you have any sensitive information, something like this, Docker, okay, my root, username, what is the password, my SQL database username and password. So all you have to do is you can choose any one of this, and say in case if you're looking for tokens, access ID and tokens, you'll have tokens, you'll have n number of tokens here, right? Copy any one and give it in GitHub. These docs are specifically for GitHub. Just like Google Docs, these docs are specifically for GitHub, and random Robbie is one best keyword which you can use in GitHub. Fine. I'll show you. For those who still don't believe that GitHub is going to have valuable information, I'll show you this. GitHub data leakage HackerOne. HackerOne is a site where you can find all the reports. So I'm giving GitHub data leakage HackerOne. We have Bugcrowd, we have HackerOne for reporting bugs. So when I give this, we'll go for this. Okay. See, look, this report is on 2018, right? 2018, it was reported by this person, and to which company? Snapchat. Imagine Snapchat, one of Snapchat employees, he had a repository in GitHub, and that repository had access tokens, private access tokens, which was sensitive. And this guy has reported this. He was just searching GitHub like this with the keywords, and he found a user, and this user was an employee of Snapchat, and he found the access ID like this, and he just copied the URL and reported it to Snapchat. And how much was the bounty which was awarded? 15,000 USD. Fine. So when you scroll down, he says, it is just a very simple report. He says GitHub is truly an awesome service. Sensitive data on GitHub. I was able to find a GitHub token indexed 7 hours ago, recently indexed, right? It was indexed 7 hours ago by user. He has hidden the username, who is working as a software engineer in Snap Inc. And what is the URL? This is the URL. And what is the sensitive information which he has found? He has found a token here. And what is the impact? Impact is, he says, something else can happen when this token is being exposed publicly like this, right? That's a very simple report. That's a very good catch. And the bounty here. Access token or access cookies, they mean like, it's like username and password. It's like sensitive information of a particular application or for a particular web application or anything else. Right? It can be for whatever it means, but that is sensitive token. Fine. So you can go for this random Robbie, try with different keywords. You have so many options, and we'll proceed with that. Fine. Having said this, okay, let me show you what is the answers for yesterday's assignment. Yesterday's assignment, the first option was this. Yes. What did I ask you? To use Google Docs to find 2 college websites in India which have usernames and passwords. So what you can do, go to Google and type, file type, XLS passwords, site. I'm looking for India. So site IN. Yes. Enter. Enter the first site. What you get is GEC Thrissur. You'll have usernames and passwords. You can open this. I don't have Excel with me, but you can try to open this. This has usernames and passwords. Look here, password 5566, chemical engineering, electrical engineering. You will have all the passwords. And this is Andhra Pradesh government, which has a very common password for all the users. Monthly progress report of KVK, and you have passwords here. Again, they're all Excel sheets. They have passwords as simple as that. Hindustan Aeronautical, not a college. Maharashtra government. This IITB, okay, electrical engineering, password info. I'm not sure if it has password, but you can check this. We are looking only for college websites. So edu.in, Kendriya Vidyalaya. You can check this. You can this. SRM University, graphical passwords. Is this sensitive? You can report? Yes, you can report this. Their sensitive information being exposed. Yes, for sure you can report this. Or in case you want to do a little more search into this edu.in, enter. You'll get only universities, edu.in, edu.in, edu.in. Fine. So this Krishna College of, okay. Fine. You get a lot of usernames and passwords like this. Fine. What was the next question here? Target website is, okay, covoterm.edu. Covoterm.edu. Can you use in URL college? Then yes, you can also use in URL college. You can use in URL college. You'll get probably all the colleges. If you don't get passwords, give password. It is all permutation and combination. I gave passwords, I didn't get results. I gave password, I got results. So it is up to you to check with different keywords. And for this college keyword, you will not get from India, you will get it from, you'll get universal results. So you'll have to be careful about that. Okay, moving on to Covoterm. Covoterm.edu. In URL covoterm.edu, we have to give like this, or we'll give index of in URL covoterm.edu EU index of. I gave index of. Okay, index of, you get something like this. Yes, so you get index of images. Okay, you get this directory which is open, thumbs. Okay, you get images, H Covoterm index of. Yes, so these two directories which are being vulnerable, this is one thing. And index of covoterm.edu, we'll just give this. We don't get anything. Are they sensitive? Yes, it is sensitive. Site covoterm.edu. I'm not a robot. Media images. I think media images folder of this is being vulnerable. Okay, we have one more folder here. It's the same thing. Okay, so we have a lot of folders here which is vulnerable. Photos, response. Yes, you have a lot of information. And I'll tell you a sample a report of how, I'll give you a sample report of how to report this. Okay, I just gave colleges and how colleges came FLS. Okay, let me explain this. I gave file type XLS passwords. I'm looking for XLS passwords which are stored in Excel sheet, right? In case if you have given DB password, that's also fine. You're looking for database passwords, but colleges database passwords, they don't sync. Most of the college data saving or data sharing will be in Excel sheet. They'll be saved in Excel sheet. That's one common thing which you will understand when you get do this repeatedly. So I'm looking for XLS passwords and site is IN. I'm looking for only sites from India. In case you wanted to go for a narrow down search, you can give edu.in, which means colleges only from India, right? It's all up to you. Order of these Google Docs command matters. Yes, sometimes the results might vary when you give like this and this, or when you give password instead of passwords, sometimes it will vary, right? Okay, let me quickly explain you how to draft a report and send this. In case if you're interested with sending reports like this, probably you should be considering title. I'll give you what is mandatory, what all we have, and from this what is mandatory. Then you have description. You don't have to worry about all these titles. These are very simple. Description and steps to reproduce. And then you can go for proof of concept, and in steps to reproduce, you will also have something called vulnerable URL, which you can include. And you have countermeasures, and at last you will have impact. These are the different headings for a bug report. A proper bug report can have different titles like this, and out of which step 3 and 4, they are mandatory. 3 and 4 is mandatory. You cannot skip that. Steps to reproduce and POC is very mandatory. So let me tell you steps to reproduce and POC, what you can do for the bug. In case if for this site, covoterm.eu, in case if you have found this, how you should report this, I'm going to tell you this. Okay, title of the bug, you can give it as responsible disclosure. This will be the subject of your email, sensitive data exposure, or you can give directory, sensitive directory is exposed, sensitive directory exposure, right? Sensitive directory exposure. And the description, in case if you don't know what sensitive directory exposure is, just copy this, go to Google, sensitive directory exposure, enter, fine. And here you will have a description of what sensitive directory exposure is. Copy this, and this will be your description of the attack. And then you will have steps to reproduce. In steps to reproduce, you will have, okay, this is number 2, this is number 3. Steps to reproduce, what you did, you gave this particular keyword, index of site coverterm.eu. So what you'll do, you'll say, I was browsing Google with the following keyword. What keyword you gave? You gave this particular keyword. Copy this, paste it here, and one of Coverterm's URL ended up in exposing sensitive directories, and vulnerable URL is, what is a vulnerable URL? Vulnerable URL is this. What is that? This, okay, this one. So I'll copy this and I'll say vulnerable URL is this. So when I send this report, the person, he will see, okay, how did I find this bug? He'll see, okay, he was browsing Google with the following keyword. So he will also copy this keyword and give in Google, and he will check if he is getting a vulnerable directory. And for his reference, I'm giving him vulnerable URL, and vulnerable URL is this. And when he clicks this, it is very obvious. Fine. With this, when I click this, it is very obvious that it is directly going to this particular page here. Yes, and he'll get confirmed. Okay, yes, this is true. And after this, next step is POC, which is also important. POC is proof of concept. Proof of concept. What I have to do, I have to take screenshot. What screenshot I'll take? I'll go here. I'll take a screenshot of this particular page. This is POC 1. Fine. This is POC 1, and this I'll take another screenshot. This is POC number 2. 2 screenshots. So I'll go back to my report and I'll say attached POC 1 and 2. Attach POC 1 and 2, and we'll have to attach the files. And countermeasures, yes, you can Google it, the countermeasures of how to prevent this. And the impact, you can copy the impact from here, just like what we have seen. Specific risk or consequences. When I open this, common consequences, this, okay, potential mitigations, this will be your countermeasures, and common consequences, this can be your impact, right? And you will have to send into their email. How to find their email? Again, go to this site, coverterm.eu, enter, go to contact us. For sure, you should be having some email address here. Try to grab this email address, whatever is present here, and send it to them. Fine. We have different things to consider in a bug report when it comes to email, when it comes to drafting. But I hope this will give you a basic idea of what you have to do. Yes. Okay. Now, we'll go to Shodan. We'll go to Shodan and then move on to subdomain enumeration. Okay. Shodan is, okay, Google is for both good and bad. Both good and bad results. Yes. Google is for both good and bad results. You will get good results, you will get bad results. Whereas Shodan is only for vulnerable devices. That is only for bad results. Fine. Any device which is vulnerable globally. Fine. Any device which is vulnerable globally will show up in Shodan. Fine. And for your information, if you find any bug with any site, please don't hesitate to send a report like this. Don't think you need permission to send this, because you are doing something good to the website. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to think that you are committing a crime. No, you're doing good because you found a bug and you are responsibly disclosing the bug to the company directly. So you should be expecting a letter of appreciation or a bounty or something which is going to make you happy. So you're not committing any crime, so you don't have to worry about that. Yes, you're free to submit reports like this. Coming to Shodan, you go to Shodan here, shodan.io, enter. I'll close this. Shodan.io, this is Shodan. Let me log in. Fine. Okay, there are two ways to access Shodan. One is using this search bar here. The other one option is explore. So when I go for search option here, I should be giving my keyword here. So let me give. I'll see. I wanted to see how many devices are vulnerable in India. Fine. So I'll give this particular keyword. Country, double quotes, IN, double quotes. Regardless of whatever devices, fine, whatever devices we have, any device which is being exposed to internet and which is vulnerable will be shown in Shodan. So when I click on search, oh my God, no space here. Click on search. How many devices you have? You have 60,09,428 devices which are vulnerable. What all devices you have? See here, Sophos. You have a login page for a data center from Hyderabad. And this is from where? Okay, let me show you that. Amazon. All these are vulnerable devices which are being exposed in internet. So when you open this, there are two ways. One is opening this link so that you get the details, you get the IP address, you get other details of, okay, it's a Microsoft server, IIS, fine, other details about that. And it is also going to give you the location here, or you can directly click this icon here. If you click on this icon, see here, it is going to take you to the login page of that particular IP address, which is bad. Shodan is going to show you things like this. Whatever is bad, whichever is being exposed to internet like this, all will be exposed. Fine. And this is Sophos. Sophos, this page isn't working. Reload. No. Okay. Open. Hyderabad, Tata Teleservices Limited, Apache, what vulnerabilities they have. It is going to give you a lot of information. Fine. Whatever ports is open, what port numbers are open here, 443, 500 and 8443. All these ports are open. Yes. And yes, you can also search, you can also report whatever you have seen in Shodan. It's very obvious. And in case you want to search based on city, yes, you can choose the categories here, or based on organizations, you can choose it from here. Or in case if you want to choose based on operating systems and products, yes, you're free to do so. I'll go for Mumbai. I'll see how many devices are there in Mumbai. When I give Mumbai, my search option will change to city. Mumbai is being added. Now I'll close this. You can look for CCTV cameras, you can look for modem, you can look for whatever devices you want. Does it show vulnerable mobile phones? It can show you vulnerable devices which are connected to satellite. Vulnerable devices which are connected to satellite. Yes, you have that many options in Shodan. You have so much of options. You can see whatever you want. Okay, look at this cluster ID, name, UID. Great. And we'll try to open this. Emma workspace. Okay, it's a bad request. Assert IT solutions. Okay, bad request. Move permanently. Connection. Proceed. Vulnerable means these devices are being exposed. That is what makes it vulnerable. I'll go for this Microsoft IaaS, Microsoft servers. I am looking for Microsoft servers which are being exposed in Mumbai. How many Microsoft servers are being exposed in Mumbai? And I open this, see here. I get a direct login page. If I get a direct login page, then it is up to an attacker to brute force. Great. Yes. And web access. Yes, you can very well say you have got the details from Shodan. Your company detail is being shown in search result of Shodan, which is bad, and you should take necessary countermeasures. You can report that. Yes. Okay. Microsoft IaaS server default page for this particular IP address. So you get so much of things with Shodan, right? This is with this. And in case if you're not interested with keywords, you can go to explore. And when you click on explore here, you have webcam, you have cams, you have netcam, you have so much of information here. I'll go for webcams. I'll choose webcams here. When I choose webcam, how many webcams? See here in India, we have 3. In China, we have 100. Russia, we have 23. Romania is 208. We have so many webcams here. Swisscom will not open. Okay. Everything is Swisscom. We'll try to go for this organizations, Digi, Romania, business. It is showing us all vulnerable webcams, whichever is online. Please don't report it to Shodan. Shodan is a search engine showing all the results. So if you found something, you should try to find the IP. With the IP address, you should try to find the company name, and from there try to find the email address, and yes, report it to them, right? So yes, Shodan has so many options like this. You can use whatever options you want. And like GitHub, you have like GitHub, and like Google, you have Shodan Docs. Shodan Docs will be quite interesting. You have a user called Jake Jarvis. See, Jake Jarvis here. When you open this, when you scroll down, see here, these are the different types of devices which you can access. So when you go for industrial control systems, what is the particular keyword which you have to give in Shodan? And gas station pump controllers, fine. What is the keyword which you have to give? License plate readers, automatic license plate readers, what? Traffic light controllers, what type of docs you can give? Voting machines in United States. You have so many options here. Prison pay phones. So all you have to do is copy this and paste in Shodan here, right? You will get some results. And okay, see here, this is maritime satellites, where you get access to satellite images. We'll copy this. We'll paste it here. search. See here, these are devices which connects, satellite devices which gets connected. Okay, it is directly logging into the dashboard of these devices. Fine, we are not going to exploit this, but still, this is not getting connected. This, yes, nope. Fine. So you have so many options here. You can try this. Okay, I'll tell you what is vulnerable here. Say you're wondering, I'm not going to the database. I'm not seeing anything vulnerable here. Fine. If it goes to a database directly, then I can say it is vulnerable. But you are showing us only the login pages. Fine. You're showing us only the login pages. And what is vulnerable in this? For an attacker, if he is able to get to a private login page, whatever we have seen here is a private login page. What do you mean by a private login page? Private login page won't be like this, abc.com/login.html. This is a public login page where it can be accessed by anyone. But instead of this, they have mentioned an IP address and they have kept it private. Why? To prevent it from attackers or to prevent it from anyone else to access this. They have kept it like this. So if I'm able to get this page, this IP address, and from this IP address, if I'm able to get this login page, I call this as vulnerable. Yes. So this is being vulnerable. Now, okay, let's move on quickly with subdomain enumeration. So we have completed first phase of information gathering, means like one topic in information gathering, that was Google, GitHub, and Shodan. Right? We have so much of things to learn with these three things, but still, based on our time restrictions, we have so much of other things to cover here. So we are moving to the next topic. But I hope this will give you a basic idea of what these sites are and how to work with these sites. Yes, and again, in case if it is Google Docs, if you are concerned about Google Docs, then you should be concentrating on this site www.exploit-db.com. Right? In case if you are concerned about GitHub Docs, then you should be going to Random Robbie's keyword from GitHub. In case if you are concerned about Shodan Docs, then you should be working with Jake Jarvis keywords, which can help you. Right? Having said this, we'll move on to the next level, which is subdomain enumeration. Subdomain enumeration. What do you mean by subdomain? Say I have this site called abc.com, that is okay. And abc.com can also have www.it.abc.com, www.india.abc.com, www.software.abc.com, www.ins.abc.com, whatever. Yes. So abc.com here is the main domain. abc.com is the main domain here. And these are the subdomains of abc.com. Right? So now we'll take this college called kct.ac.in. Right? This is our target. This is our target here. Now, what I have to do in this target, I have to, our objective is to hack the payment gateway, of KCT college. Fine, we are a group of 900 people, hackers from different place, and we have a target here. And what is our objective? We need to earn money. How to earn money? We are going to hack the payment gateway of this particular college. Right? So in case if you want to do this, first we'll need to gather information. What information we need to gather? First, we need to get the IP address of kct.ac.in. Yes. How will you get the IP address of this particular server? kct.ac.in is this. kct.ac.in. kct.ac.in is this. Okay, they have admissions open. Perfect time for us. Admissions, expression, interest. Yes, we have a lot of things here. And we'll close this. So this is the college website. Fine. What is the first thing which we have to do? We have to find the IP address. How will I find the IP address? Simple inbuilt utility is command prompt. I'll open up my command prompt. I'll type ping kct.ac.in, ping kct.ac.in, enter. I get some IP address here, and I'll copy this. I'll paste it here. Fine. So now I believe if I'm able to hack this particular IP address, I can log into the payment gateway page and we can do something. That is our usual thought process. But we should enumerate subdomains. Why? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why we have to enumerate subdomains. We are here, group of people. I'm one person sitting here, and we are connected to internet. And what we know, we have opened KCT website here, KCT website in our computer here. And what is this? This is the web server of KCT. This is the web server of KCT. And because we are sitting somewhere in US and this college is in India, so we are not sure of the network architecture, of the server architecture. Yes, KCT can also have multiple servers, as I told you yesterday. This is a possibility. This is a possibility where they can have a mail server, they have a FTP server, and in case they can also have a payment server, a separate server for payment. And what is the IP address which we have got here? 104.27.143.153. Yes, this is the IP address of this. And a mail server, it can have a different, this is a possibility. It can have a different IP address, and a payment server can have a different IP address like this. This can be a possibility. Now, as an attacker here, what we have got this IP address 27.143.153, right? And what we are going to do now, we are going to use all XYZ tools, all softwares, all paid version of softwares to attack this IP address. Now, where will all these attacks be heading? It will be heading to the web server. But what is our target here? Our target is a payment server. And this payment server has a totally different IP address. Do you think we'll be able to grab details from the payment server? The answer is no. Why? Because we are performing attack on the wrong IP address here. So what we need to enumerate? We need to enumerate what subdomains we have and what is the IP address of this payment server, because that is our objective here. Yes. So what we'll do, we'll try to go for that. We'll go for a tool. We'll open up Kali Linux. Kali Linux. You can open up the Kali Linux. What we gave. Oh my God. No, I think I gave the wrong password. No, it's right. Great. Fine. So here, what I'll do, I'll go for the terminal. We'll try to download softwares from GitHub. Fine. I'll show you how to download a software from GitHub and how to install this. And for enumerating subdomain, what software we are going to download? We are going to download Sublister. Sublister GitHub. I'm typing this Sublister. I'm going to download this from GitHub. Enter. Sublister from GitHub. I'll open this. I'll copy this. And I'll open up my terminal. Fine. I'll repeat this one more time. I gave sublister in GitHub. I got this result from GitHub page. I opened this and the software is here. Sublister software is here. I have this software. So how to download this software? I can go to code and I can copy this. If you copy this, right? This is the URL of this particular software. After copying this, what I have to do, I'll have to go here and type git clone, right? Git clone. I think this is now, yes, visible. Git clone, and I'll paste it. I'll paste the URL here. Git clone, and I'm going to paste this URL here. Enter. The software will automatically install. Fine. Once if it installs, I'll give ls. ls is a command. My screen is not visible. I hope it is visible to everyone. Yes. Okay. Fine. ls is a command which is to check the list of directories or the folders. So I'll give ls. Now where is our sublister folder? Our sublister folder is here. Fine. We have the sublister folder here, and I have to log into the sublister folder. So I'll give cd. I'll type cd sublister, enter. So now I'm inside the sublister folder. Now I'll give ls again to check the contents. Enter. This is in Kali Linux. This is in Kali Linux, and I have the executable here, sublister.py. So I'll give /sublister.py. Fine. /sublister.py. Enter. So it is going to show you the options for sublister. What options do you have for sublister? I'll clear this. So I'll give /sublister.py -d, and what is our target? kct.ac.in. Sublister.py, D is for domain. So I give kct.ac.in. Enter. So it is going to search this. It is going to search this in all these sites, and it is going to give you results. Fine. It is going to give you results. So let's wait for the results to appear. Fine. This is one way of accessing through Kali Linux, a tool which can be used, which you can download and which you can install in Kali Linux to enumerate subdomains. Okay. So yes, now we have got kct.ac.in. We have admissions, blog, career, email. See here, we have fees payment. We have fees payment here. Perfect. And we have grievances, no need. And this Mahalingam Chess Academy, no placement, admin, smart apps, Telegram. They have a lot of other things. And what we need fees payment. Yes, fees payment .kct.ac.in. Let us try to open this fee payment to check if it is working or not. Fee payment.kct.ac.in. How to find subdomain IP? I'll tell you that. Fee payment.kct.ac.in. Fee payment.kct. Yes, it is loading. It is not opening. Great. Okay. You have a chance for not for subdomain takeover, but they have some connection issue here. Okay, but this is working here. Now, in order to find the IP address, what steps do we have and how to enumerate? Here we have seen OS based tool. OS based tool, what we have seen sublister. Sublister is the tool. Now in tomorrow's session, we will go for a web based tool, website based tool, where we can get the IP address of the subdomains, and I'll tell you how to proceed with after you get the IP address of the subdomains, what other steps you have, technologies used, how to find the technologies used, and then how to perform vulnerability analysis, and finally how to go for exploitation. Yes. Okay. Your assignment for today will be shared by 12 o'clock. I'm not going to discuss the assignment now. The assignment will be very simple. It will be based on things like this, enumerating your subdomains or trying to find the IP address or things like that. I'll try to give some basic assignments which will help you in understanding your target in a much better way. So try to complete the assignments. It will be simple assignments so that you don't have to get confused. Yesterday you guys came up with a lot of doubts. That is okay. So today we will come up with a very simple assignment. So let's see how it works. Fine. Your assignment will be shared by 12 o'clock. Fine. And we'll continue from this and this on tomorrow's session. Fine. Thanks for your time and patience. Thank you. Deadline for the assignment as usual. Okay, we'll take it as 6 o'clock. I think you guys have exams and other things. So you can submit on your own time, but submit it before 6 or 7. That would be great. And yesterday we heard that you guys had exams, you had some assignments. We are aware of that. So take your time, but submit your assignment within today. Yes, and attendance will be shared now. You can give your attendance. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow then. Thank you.
Good morning, guys. The attendance link has been shared in the chat box, so you can go ahead, post your attendance, and you can leave.